Good evening, everyone. My name is Tinotenda Chiduku. I am a co-director of InGens. InGens initially was a website development company, but we later pivoted into software development, given that we realized and noticed the gap between software development in Zimbabwe and in Western countries. And we had also tried and seen how Zimbabweans in particular tend to want to borrow systems from outside of Zimbabwe, from the Westerners. So our main purpose, or the motivation of having us build this company, was to prove that as Zimbabweans, we too have the talent and the skill set required and needed to build just as efficient, just as fast, and just as great software products as the Westerners. So we are not only selling products, but this is part of our movement to prove that we as Zimbabweans can do it. So in having this company operate for roughly around a year now, we have managed to shut down some of the stereotypes, or some of the stereotypes going around how businesses need websites, right? I'm not saying they don't, but what we realized is businesses do not necessarily need websites, right? They need a functional system within the online or digital ecosystem. It just so happens that the website is that tool that they use to build this ecosystem. So in part of us developing websites for companies, we are also on par with our clients, teaching them how now they can use these websites, these platforms, these web applications to bring in more yield to their companies, to make sure that the investment that they have given now turns to return yields, right? Say, for example, a company that's doing operations with multiple branches, they can operate with a website. In this case, it will be called a web application because now it has a database where it stores data. They can share database between branches, between and across branches, depending on the architecture that they see fit, right? We're also developing mobile applications. Desktop applications, we haven't seen much growth lately. Not sure as to why most clients are not picking them up, but the general idea was around people mostly using their mobile applications, their mobile phones for their day-to-day, right? So what we have been looking at is how can businesses use now these websites, web applications to operate their business, right? Say someone is in the UK with a business in Zimbabwe. How best can they utilize a mobile application to increase the efficiency, communication, whilst keeping records in check and in a singular place? That could be something that's of paramount importance. You can, if for example you're using, say, if you have a shop, right? A shop in Zimbabwe, but you are buying your stuff from the UK, you would want to see an inventory, items that are still in the shop, items that have been bought, items that have been returned, and the general principle accounting within the application, right? I think most of the people in this platform so far do realize that the accounting models from outside do not exactly resonate with the business models that are operating in Zimbabwe. So that's where we come in now, where we are creating custom software that is grounded on the principle of how Zimbabwe is doing business, right? Including some of the black checks that we get around when we are running our businesses. These are some of the things that might not appear in the Western systems, but it's a reality to us as Zimbabweans. So with this is where my presentation ends, and I am ready for questions.
Oh, that's fine. Sorry, Tinotenda. Did I miss the pricing system on the systems that you develop?
No, I had not mentioned pricing. I apologize for that. It's usually when I'm talking about products, I mostly deviate from pricing. I am still a learning business person, and but as for the pricing model, it's quite lenient for just standard basic websites with search engine optimization. We start from $150. That's a website with roughly around 6 to 7 pages. We integrate live chat right there. You can communicate with your clients, with clients or prospective clients that have come to your website. There's also this bit of collecting analytical data, where people are accessing from, what they're interested in, and that sort of thing. And then for the standard package, we now move on to $300. This has now a bit more advanced features. It now has a database backing it. Right now, you can keep your information. Essentially, it becomes a web application. So when you want to have something like an e-commerce store, or when you want to have something around those lines, it's of course roughly around $300. And then for custom packages, now we build from $450 going upward. Now the thing with the custom system is now you decide the features that you want us to build for you that are specific to your business, and mostly would be charging by the scope of work. Before we make a pricing, right, we go through what we call a scope of work, and we deliver a charter to a client where we tell them how the project is going to be built, the stages we're going to be going through, the features that we're going to ship, and in what order we're going to ship them, and the overall time to give the complete deliverables. For mobile applications, we roughly start at around $350, but the price is dynamic, given that there are clients who might need specific features. But the base model, a base MVP with the designated features, it starts at $350.
Okay, maybe last question from me. So where are you based? And are you mobile or you can be found online?
I am based in Harare. Right now I'm at Nico's Diamond, opposite Jameson Hotel.
Okay, that's fine. Guys, the floor is open. If you've got any questions for Tinotenda.
Hi, Tinotenda. Tawan is my name. My question to you is the workloads, the solutions that you deploy, where do you host them? Are they cloud-based, or someone will have to look for a server hosting service in Zimbabwe? Most of the time, where do you deploy the workloads? Where do they run from?
Oh, okay. So for deployment, it depends with the nature of the application, right? Since this is nearly a new concept in terms of the professionalism being handled, I tend to suggest to my clients cheaper options as they start, and when they want to scale up, I then offer alternatives to scale up. So initially, if you want to see how the project would work with prospective clients, that is, if you have an idea of your own, I can help you host on Vercel. Vercel offers free hosting. It's a developer tool, but it can also work for production, right? It's something that you can host your platform with minimal cost whilst you are looking at your market and even the load, right? We can also spin up custom servers, right? There are providers like Hostinger, there is Google Cloud Console, and then there is also Cloudflare. As of right now, I'm developing a product that I am hosting on Cloudflare. So hosting is not ideally an option. We can go through those multiple options with you, the client.
That's fine. Thanks.
Okay. On the platforms.
Okay, you can proceed, Manja.
Okay. On the platforms that you say they offer free hosting. How is the scalability? How in terms of the load? Are we looking at basically small systems or to medium or even a large enterprise deployment can be hosted there on the free platforms the examples that you have given?
Oh, okay. So the examples I have given are what we call freemium models. They scale up to enterprise, but as long as you are operating within a smaller range or within their free tier, you are not charged, right? So it tells you when you have a load that has now exceeded their free tier. So you can move from small to medium to enterprise level application.
All right, thanks. Thank you, Tinotenda. It's clear. I'm answered.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, great. Any other reactions, guys, to Tinotenda's presentation?
Hello, Tino. That was a great presentation. My question to you is, I've always had bad experiences actually with web developers because they promise one thing in terms of timelines, and in most cases, I find that it's disappointing to discover that they really do not deliver. Are there examples that you can share with us of some of your work that you have done, and how are your delivery timelines really, realistically speaking? Thank you.
Okay. So I have mentioned when I was doing my presentation that we have something that we call a charter, right? A charter is where I am analyzing and building a scope of work from what we may have discussed during our initial interview and starting of the project. That is when we can now determine how much time it is going to take to build a project. But for simpler projects like websites, I usually take 3 to 4 days, and this is reflected from the clients I've been working with for a while now. Our delivery time is roughly around 3 to 4 days for just basic websites with no backend.
Okay, just one last question, Tino.
Okay.
Yeah, just one last question. Do you offer any other graphic design services, like if I'm in need of a graphic designer to do some other designs that I would want, which are not specifically website, let's say logo redraws, and other designs?
Yes, we do that as well. We do logo designs, we do social media flyers, even social media conception. and company profiles, as well as business cards.
Thank you. Please do share your details where we can reach you on, so that we can maybe see if we can utilize your services. Thank you.